right, guys, welcome to the very first episode of Gunner's Corner. I'm Mehrdad, Elizade, and I'm joined by my co-hosts CJ Young and Laurent Piana. This is a podcast where we break down all things Arsenal, matches, transfers, tactics, and everything in between.
Yes, sir. My name is CJ. We're all good friends here on the pod. We all went to school together. Just a little brief introduction about us and where we come from. We all have a footy background. We all have played. Some of us are still playing. We watch the game on a professional level, and we're here to give back that knowledge to you guys. So again, my name is CJ Young. And Yeah, looking forward to getting started. This is the first one, and it's going to be the first of many in terms of content we're going to be bringing to y'all.
Hey guys, this is Laurent. Welcome to the Gunner's Corner. Yes, this is finally it. The first podcast. We're going live. We're here to bring you all the news from the soccer world, right? But especially from what's happening in the Premier League. And obviously with a focus on Arsenal FC. So yeah, man, big things. And hope you guys are in it for the ride. Yeah.
All right, let's get into a very touchy subject. Um, Kai Havertz.
Hmm.
Go to Dubai, come back. We lose our only number nine, and I know CJ's in love with Kai. He's the 20 goal scorer. I don't know. I don't know. CJ, I know you got a lot to say. Like another hamstring. That's three hamstrings. So we got Martinelli hamstring, Saka off the bone hamstring, and Havertz now.
Yeah, I mean, the common denominator here is what? I think these players have been overworked, Like I've said it to you, Mehrdad, like all season. We've been saying for a couple seasons now how I feel like we're short in attack, and I feel like the attack has been neglected over the last couple seasons. To be in a position now where all of our forwards are like, injured, picking up like muscular injuries, hamstring injuries, like that's no coincidence. Like these players have been overworked. Um, One thing y'all will get to know about me in terms of the listeners, I'm like, Mehrdad has kind of always been the optimistic one. I like to think that I'm like, not pessimistic, but like more on like the realistic side of things. These two, Laurent and Mehrdad, try to keep me in check, but I just got to keep it real sometimes. And in my opinion, Mr. Mikel Arteta, the manager, who's been, in the job for what, 5 years now, he's part of it as well. And like, it's all about squad building. And to be in a position now where, our key attackers are all injured, um, and they all have muscular injuries and hamstring injuries, like that's not a coincidence. Like these players have been overworked. It's been a combination of the board and, Edu when he was here, all of the recruitment team, all of Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff. Like somebody, if not everybody, as mentioned, is accountable and is to blame because how did we not do anything in the January transfer window? We didn't, do anything last summer in terms of, bringing in attacking talent. And don't even get me started on, Raheem Sterling. He's, the Jamaican tax for me. Jamaican tax only runs so far, like I can't even claim him at this moment in time. So, it's just embarrassing. And now, we're on bare bones towards the end of the season. And I'm not the biggest Kai Havertz fan. I don't think he's the striker that's going to get us over the line. But
No.
the guy's been running to the ground as well, and he was better than said nothing, and now we don't even have him. So it's a bit of a sticky one, to be honest.
Yeah. What's your take, Laurent? What do you think? Because I know we stole I don't even want to say stole Sterling from you, but we
It's like
took uh,
from
we
a
took
recycling bin,
Havertz.
as they say.
And
Yeah. I mean, honestly, first and foremost, respect to Kai Havertz, because I remember, I think under Tuchel, um, right, he's produced a lot for us, right, in clutch moments. So
Has he?
yeah, yeah,
I mean, he scored the Champions League winner.
yeah. I mean, what else? Hey, come on, man.
I mean,
Fair.
He-
listen, I told you the stat last time. He has in less games this year, he has the same amount of goal contributions. Is he the one that's going to win us the league? I don't know.
okay,
I don't
but
know.
that's not even his position. That's not even his natural position, though. Like
No.
I remember when he
Right.
came from his original club before he came to Chelsea, right?
Bayer Leverkusen, yeah. He
Yeah,
played
yeah.
10.
Yeah, so it's like he's had to adapt, and it's to be honest, even when you look at the Mbappe situation, right? It's something that players have to do, right? You come into a new club, depending on the players, the personnel that they have there, right? Sometimes you're going to be played in a position that you're not comfortable with, but as a professional, right, it's your job to adapt. But yeah, in regards to his injury, though, it's unfortunate. I do think, given also the circumstances around the Arsenal right now, right, and the lack of attack, he was definitely a guy there that on his good days could produce.
Yeah.
Right? And he definitely came in clutch moments. But funny enough, right, the guy was absent, and look who showed up for you, right, the Mourinho guy.
Mikel Marino.
Jeez.
What, Marouane Fellaini? Are we going back to the Everton Marouane Fellaini days? Like,
Internal Solutions FC, man.
yeah.
Jeez.
The only thing I will say, and I think I heard this on Arscast Extra, is when you look at the clubs with the highest injuries, like when I compare the injuries that Spurs have had, majority of them are hamstring, and then I look at the injuries that we have. A lot of it has to do that with that attacking rate and that pressing rate, right? Like
Mm.
I understand Arteta's game is like he wants to have control, and he always talks about dominating every single aspect of the game. But then you look at players who have a little bit more freedom to roam. Like when Arsenal was under Wenger, every single player had their ability to roam, and they could have those moments of excellence, a la Alexis Sanchez. When we had Ozil, even Giroud to a certain extent, when he had the ability to just roam up front. But now I feel like everything is so structured to a certain extent that the players, one, obviously, we don't have the depth under any circumstances, and two, like I understand it's our game style to dominate, but I feel like we're dominating to an extent where we're running our players to the ground. If you want to play this style, you have to have two top players in each position. We're able to do that with our back four, but and our midfield to a certain extent, but our front line, like I think CJ and I have been talking about it for the past, I want to say 24 months. Like we knew this injury was coming for Saka. Not only is he England's right wing, plays every single minute of every single game. For
Mm.
Arsenal, there's some games like I think we've messaged like, why is he on at the 85th minute and why is he being taken off at the 85th minute? Why is he not off at the 70th? Why is he not off at the 60th minute? Like that 20, 30-minute difference makes a huge difference because of
Right.
the pressing rate. It's not like we sit back and allow the pressure. We're the ones applying the pressure. The only game I think that would have seen us sit back really is the City game last year when Rodri came out and said there was only one team to want to win. Like it's the game style, right? Like look at Spurs, Van de Ven, Romero. I think Udogi was also injured, and they're high pressing, they're high attack rate. So the hamstrings injuries are a worry, and the fact that we're not investing, it's like
Well, like you said, our forward line, I believe, is with the way we play. Like we defend from the front in our high press, and it works against teams, but it demands so much from our forwards. Like I think our forwards are one of the most tiresome working forwards in like the league, if not Europe, like when it comes to within the 90-minute game, because of how much intensity and work rate goes into, they're up and down the touchline. They're doing so much of the defensive work that by the time they get the ball, they're probably fatigued by the 70th, 80th minute, because there's so much work rate off the ball, tracking back, pressing from the front on the opposition's goal kicks. Like, I think our forwards do some of the most work in the league, and that's down to our style of play and the coaching staff imposing that on the players. And again, it's not like it works for in a lot of games. It's worked against Man City. We high pressed against Man City, and they turned over the ball. And that's how a few of our first goals came. So it works, but you still, can't run the players into the ground. And how we thought that not signing anybody in January with Jesus and Saka out, long term, how we thought we were going to maintain our style of play with 3 or 4 fit forwards was insane. We can't ask Kai to play 90 as our only striker. He's not even a striker. I believe truly we don't have a proper number 9 at
no,
this
we
football
don't.
club. Like,
We don't. I agree with you. We
Jesus
don't.
is not an actual out and out center forward. Kai was converted into a center forward. Bro, is Mikel Arteta allergic to strikers? Like, I don't understand. Like, why do we not have an out and out 9 at this club? You
Bro,
know,
give him a Benadryl. Give him a Benadryl when it's transfer season, and then just let him buy
he's
someone.
gonna need a heavy dosage, man, because somebody
It's
here is allergic. I swear, they need Reactin, they need Benadryl, they need lifetime insurance. Like I don't know, bro. It's insane.
can we just do a little exercise? Let's look at all the teams in the Premier League, and I'm gonna name them out one by one. I'm obviously gonna skip over the givens for the front line. Okay, so I'm not gonna go over Liverpool. I'm not gonna go through Forest, even
Mm,
City,
I know where you're going with this.
Newcastle. I'm not gonna go through these teams, and I think we touched on it last week. I'm gonna start from the bottom. Tell me if you would this current front three. So our current front three is Inwanieri, Sterling, and Trossard. Okay, we're
Awesome.
not going with Mikel
Awesome.
Merino because he's a midfielder. Tell me if you would take that front three or the team that I'm going to say. Okay. So, first, Southampton. Would you take their front three currently or would you take our front three?
Just about, I would take our front three over Southampton, and that's a stretch at the moment.
Okay.
I'd say Arsenal's.
Okay. Leicester.
Mm.
At this moment in time, I would take like a 38-year-old Jamie Vardy. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
100%. Bro, at halftime, they were bringing on Mavididi.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, who are
yeah.
we bringing on? We're bringing on Mikel Marino. They have the Cordova, Reed. They still have,
Oh
like
yeah,
you said,
Reed, yeah. IU,
Jamie Vardy, Ayu, Pax and Daka. Like,
yeah. IU would 100% start in our team right now, up front.
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, bro.
dude,
Did you,
over
bro?
Sterling? Come on.
Sterling probably dropped the worst performance I've seen all season from any forward player. He wouldn't even start Laurent. He wouldn't even start for Pope John Paul secondary school right now. I swear to God, bro, he would not start for the junior team too, not even the senior team.
Wait, so
Get this.
hold on, Laurent. You're saying you would take Arsenal's front three right now over Leicester?
Um,
Like Nwaneri, of course, he's a
Yeah.
lock.
yeah,
Well,
wait. What's up with that guy? Like the Messi comparisons is what I'm
you heard
hearing.
that.
Yeah. Like I had
Too
to do a
soon.
double take on that. Like first of all, yeah, I want to know what are your thoughts on that? Like seriously, as Arsenal fans, is that justified or?
Yeah, Buddy needs to stop putting so much pressure on our young players, man. Like,
Hmm.
Yeah.
let's
No,
let's
too
just calm
soon.
down a bit. Let's just let him play. We don't need to do those comparisons like just yet. I understand stylistically like the way he plays and all that, but let's just
Hmm.
relax on dropping those names.
Yeah, too soon. He hasn't done anything. Like if they want to compare him to Yamin Yamal, sure.
Hmm.
I'm open to that type of comparison or like Nico Williams or something, but Messi,
Right.
like don't let's not let's take a deep breath.
Hmm.
Okay.
He
100%.
like let's relax. We're talking about someone who is the best player in the world and who played with the best players, and then we're comparing him to uh, that's yeah no, we're not gonna go there.
100%.
So Lauren, who would you take, Leicester's front three or our front three?
All right. So yeah, that so you guys have Sterling, Trossard, and you're saying currently, right?
Yeah, and then
Like
one year.
I keep butchering his name. Um, see, I'm a big fan of Vardy. I think yeah, like Vardy to me is just like like a pure nine.
Hmm.
Um, right? That's the word.
Which we don't have yet.
No.
Yeah, yeah, that's I and yeah, it's like even a player at that age would definitely make a good addition, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Would definitely contribute, right? Um, but then who else is there on Leicester really? Like who you're saying IU?
Yeah, Jordan Ayew. He played, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, left wing. They have Mavididi. They have De Cordova Reed, who played. I think he played right wing or he played right behind Ayew. Like they played like a little bit of a triangle. They have Pax and Daka.
If I'm
Um,
being honest, I would the only person I would probably like take over is Vardy from
okay,
that. Yeah.
fair
Uh,
enough, fair enough. What about Ipswich? Did you
Delap and Omari Hutchinson, our young academy boy who we let go.
Yeah, I'm like these are real questions. Like I would take Liam Delap, I would take Omari Hutchinson. Like
Yeah.
over the current
100%. I would take Delap or Hutchinson over Sterling in a heartbeat. I don't even think that's a question.
See, the funny thing is all the strikers that we're naming, they would all start in our team right now because we don't have an actual striker. And this is my point. You see what Marino came on and did on the weekend, bagging 2 goals, and the guy's not now an out striker. But here's my thing, and here's what frustrates me, Laurent, when we have these conversations, and like Mehrdad with me, you have these conversations. Again, it goes back to neglect in the windows. Like Marino came on and did that on the weekend, but he's not an out striker, and he doesn't have to be because we create so many chances. We're so good defensively, and we control so many games, even in midfield, that bro, we like the chances we create. Any of us can probably freaking play up top for Arsenal at this moment in time. You know what I mean? Because, like we just create the chances for
Yeah.
teams, and Havertz plays there, and lo and behold, he scores some, but he misses the half of the others, and it drives me insane. But the point is, like all across the league that we're naming these 20 different teams, we would take any one of the strikers because clearly all you need in this team, in Arsenal's team right now, is just any half decent striker, and we can do things. You know, all
Right.
we need is a striker that can just put the ball in the back of the net because Marino comes on in the weekend as a midfielder and he's putting the ball in the back of the net because why? We're creating good chances. The balls
Right.
that Gary put in, from the right side, that great ball that Trossard put in on the left wing, bro, we create so many chances that all it takes is a half decent finisher and we're in business. You know, like it's not that difficult. Ollie Watkins for 60 mil in January, I take that at this moment in time. Why? Because there's a chance we can genuinely win the league with a proper striker up front.
And it's really sad because when City was going through their like losing streak, Pep literally said he's like, my job is to help get them to the box, help the players get to the box. They have to finish. Arteta has that same philosophy. Maybe he doesn't come out right and say it,
Mm.
but we get into the box, we create all those chances, but we don't have that killer instinct. The only person who has that killer instinct right now is Wanyeri. Before it was Saka. Trossard to a certain extent, he has that
Mm-hmm.
moment where he can kind of play. But when you look at the 20 teams, like top to bottom, like Jamie Vardy, Delap, Mateus Cunha, I would even go as far as saying what's it, Mikel Antonio, or oh my God, what's it, Mohamed Kudus,
Mm.
right? Like I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would take Amad Diallo. That moment of
Tremendous.
magic. You got Ndiaye from Everton, right? Like there's these players that it's sad that we're getting to this point. That these are the discussions because we built such a good team and we went from being a laughing stock to actually competing, and we're still missing that one piece. And now with Havertz gone, like honestly, I think we'll push Liverpool, and I think it's going to come down to that last 2 weeks where we face Liverpool at Anfield and then Newcastle at home. If we keep it within striking distance, like that Anfield game is going to be the game to watch. It's going to be, uh, it's going to be a crazy game. So,
Yeah.
but Saka apparently, which I don't like hearing this. Apparently, he's ahead of schedule. Um, they want to bring him back apparently for that City game.
City?
Sorry, not City game. They want to bring him back for. My apologies. What was the game that they said? Sorry, I'm just trying to quickly put it up.
Was it the United game?
Yes, yes. Sorry, yeah, the United game. They want to bring him back for the United game or the first Champions League knockout, which I don't really like to see that he's ahead of schedule because he tore the hamstring off the bone. And I don't know, are they bringing him back because we're desperate or are they bringing him back because he's fully healthy?
Right.
Did you see the scar on his from the operation?
Yeah.
It's bad?
That thing was longer than the 401, bro. That shit was going all the way
Yeah.
up his leg. That shit was crazy. That was a serious operation. There's
Yeah.
no way he's ahead of schedule. He's not coming back in at early March. No way.
No. Like they're saying March 9th, that's when we face United. And then March 16th, we face Chelsea. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in between that, we'll have a knockout game.
Champions League, yeah.
Wait,
And
originally, how long was he supposed to be out for?
typically, that type of injury would have kept him out until mid April
Right.
because it was December 21st. He had the surgery where you're looking at like 8 weeks, and then you're gonna need another 8 weeks to get up to like ramping up for like to doing like sports and high performance activities. So like like originally I was like April 1st, that's when he's gonna be back. But if they're trying to bring him back from March, like we have 2 games in March right now, Premier League, because we're out of all the other cups, and then we'll have the home and away. Like I wouldn't risk it.
And here's the thing, like the position that he plays in, he's an explosive player, right? As a winger, to that running and that explosiveness off of your, on the whether it's coming off the touchline, receiving the ball, short sprints, long sprints, like as a winger with a hamstring injury and a torn hamstring, like even when he comes back, he's gonna take a while to get up to speed. So I think we're looking at April, maybe at best, to see him back at somewhere close to his best. Now, the good news is he's not necessarily like I don't see Saka as the fastest player. He's good. He can run with the ball at his feet. He's quick enough, but he's not like he doesn't have Martinelli pace or he doesn't have like Mbappe pace or Sterling pace. What Sterling back in the day, like so his game doesn't necessarily rely on pace. Whereas funny enough, like someone like Martinelli's, he more so relies on pace. Uh, Thankfully, his injury isn't as serious as Saka's, so hopefully Martinelli comes back and he can, kind of pick up where he left off. So with Saka, it's not like we have to be super concerned in the sense that his game relies strictly on pace and that any short sprint or long distance run, um, he could re-aggravate it. Like when we give the ball to Saka, we don't give it to him over the top. We give him the ball to feet more times, right? So that's my thing where maybe he doesn't have to do too much excessive like running immediately. Like we give him the ball to feet and he can work his way into fitness and form. Hopefully we don't demand too much from him in terms of like high press and like tracking back to defend. Um, but yeah, I mean, I still gonna take him a while to get up to speed. And just on that real quick, like I just want to say something quickly. Like again, in the day and age now of the high press and like defending from the front and the attackers now becoming like the first form of defense. It's crazy that back in the day, like forwards, like when we used to look at like the Ronaldinho era, and even like as recent as like MSN era, like Neymar, Messi, and Suarez at Barca, those guys did not defend. Like they stayed high
No.
up the pitch. You rely on your back four, you rely on your holding mids, and then when they win the ball, you give it to the forwards, early, quickly, and then boom, you're off. Whereas
Sure.
now, in today's day and age, when I watch Arsenal, like this current version of Arsenal, Martinelli and Saka, they're defending almost on top of their fullbacks in our defensive end. So by the time we get the ball, they need to bust a gut to get up the pitch.
Yeah.
Whereas, like I said, at the MSNs of the back in the day and Ronaldinho's and those old forwards from back in the day, they were already, they're probably hanging up back on the halfway line to wait till we win the ball and then, or wait till the team wins the ball and then they counterattack and they spring forward, and that's what even Real Madrid, the prime counterattacking Real Madrid under Jose Mourinho with Benzema, Ozil, Di Maria, Cristiano Ronaldo, those guys weren't on defending, like those guys are just, they spring on the counterattack once they get the ball, they're all the way, they're already at your opposition end, so it's tough nowadays for this modern day system based high pressing football that teams are playing.
Yeah, I think the point about the Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, it's good, and like we don't even need to go that far back. Like if you look at Klopp's Liverpool, like or even Slott's Liverpool right now, like sometimes you'll see Luis Diaz track back, but you won't see Nunez. You won't see Salah track back. You'll see Gakpo. That's why he probably plays a little bit more, but um, the defensive work rate is out of this world. But I do think that has a huge part to do with the injuries that we have. Um, but anyways, let's move on to the upcoming fixtures. Laurent, do you have the upcoming fixtures up with you?
Yeah, I do. So the next game is West Ham United at home. Following that, Nottingham Forest. That's an away game. Actually, mind you, West Ham out of form currently.
Mm.
Uh, Essentially, right, those should be easy points to pick up. But I hate to say easy because there's nothing easy in the Premier League. All right.
Especially when you don't have a striker. You hit that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, but no, the Nottingham Forest game I think for me is going to be a challenging game. Yeah,
Mhm.
given also their place in the table. And then the week after that, Manchester United. This game for me is I think it can go either way. As bad as in form as United is currently, I feel like I don't know, that team is just they're full of surprises, you know? One game they're cold. The next game, they perform, right? And they show some semblance of what the rebuild could potentially look like.
Well, they beat us in the FA Cup, being a man down.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
They
you
beat
never know.
Liverpool.
Yeah. And then after that, so the fourth game, Chelsea FC, and
Ooh,
that is
easy dub. Easy
well,
dub.
listen, look,
You're
we'll
gonna
make
get
sure,
clipped up for this.
huh?
So he's gonna get clipped up for that comment.
Yeah.
He might
Yeah.
come
Easy
back to
dub.
life. I mean.
Easy. Listen, it's nothing personal. If
And
you guys
I mean,
get that, if you guys get that reference,
Of course,
Aubameyang.
of course.
But
wait,
yeah,
what's the reference?
do you not remember when when Aubameyang came back to Chelsea and they made that ad right before the Arsenal game and he said Arsenal, it's nothing personal, and then he
Oh,
got clapped.
no, no, I don't remember that. Oh, okay, got you.
There's your homework after this. Go try to find that. Go try to find that
We'll do,
commercial.
we'll
Uh,
do.
okay, so hold up. Okay, so let's start with West Ham. Completely
Yep.
out of form, but they've kind of had our number.
Still have dangerous players too.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, man. Like I don't think there's any gimme games. But this is I know every game we're gonna talk about it. It's a must win. It's a must win. But this is like we need to keep the pressure on. I don't know. CJ, like, am I far off? Like this, we have to keep the pressure on.
Bro, 100%. Like Liverpool's next three games, and I know, I don't mean to upset any Liverpool fans in the chat or on the stream right now, aka Laurent. Um, but yeah, like I mean, Liverpool have some difficult fixtures coming up too. Like they have Villa um, in midweek, and
This
actually
Wednesday.
before I get to Villa, I don't know if you guys thought. Obviously, I think we all saw the result today. They just got by Wolverhampton
Oh,
Wanderers to 2-1.
yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
been saying this like to you, Laurent, all season is that like this is not Man City that we're chasing. Like this is Liverpool that Arsenal's chasing. And so with all due respect, what I mean by that is Liverpool's not gonna go on like a crazy 15 game unbeaten run. If we were chasing City right now, I would already say as of today, February, whatever day today is, 16th, whatever. I would say, yeah, title's done, title's over. But Liverpool is not that City team. They're not like that Barca team under Pep. They're not, the Galacticos, Real Madrid. Like Liverpool's beatable, bro, and they can drop points. Like they're not. They're beating teams like Wolves and whatnot. Like they're just about scraping through against Wolves. Everton in midweek they drop points, and okay, Everton's in form right now, and that's a local derby, so that's a tough game for them. But we've seen throughout the season. I think the game against Southampton, Mehrdad, like me and you were texting
Yeah.
about that when Liverpool played Southampton earlier on the season. Like they could have easily lost that game as well.
Easily.
Sometimes dodgy calls, sometimes referee officials like give them a little bit of a break, and individual quality bails them out in the end, aka Mo Salah and whatnot. But they're vulnerable. Like they will drop points. I 100% believe that. So mathematically, the title's not done for me. However, we're not in the best shape to catch them either. That's the sad
No.
part. It's like the title is there for us to take because again, it's not Man City, and because it's open, and because Liverpool, they're just in a commanding position because they've been more consistent than everybody else. But they're not this juggernaut that's unbeatable, and oh my god, like they're great. Like
No.
I've watched their games, we've seen their games. It's individual quality that bails them out more often
Mo
than not.
Salah.
Otherwise,
Like,
yeah,
Mo Salah FC. You're banging.
Nah, I wouldn't go as far as saying Musal FC, man.
no,
Well,
they've got good. Yeah,
sorry, go
they've
ahead.
got good players. They do have good players, and Mo Salah is the cream of the crop, like the cherry on top of an already good team. But they're still like beatable. And sorry, I don't want to get too off topic, but in terms of like their next upcoming like three games, they barely beat Wolves today. They have Villa next, then they have City on the weekend,
And
then they
then
have Newcastle
Newcastle.
after that. If
Yeah.
they get 9 points out of that, like all right, I'll hold my hands up. I don't believe they'll get 9 points out of that,
Mm.
but it's like those are three difficult games. So in terms of where we stand, we need to beat West Ham by hook or by crook somehow. We need to beat West Ham. We need to keep putting on the pressure because again, I'll say it again. I think Liverpool will crumble under the pressure. They won one Premier League in 30 years. They fumbled last year when they were in a commanding position. They only won one Premier League under Klopp, so they'll feel pressure if we're able to put that pressure on. You
Yeah.
know, City when they were doing their thing in title runs, they didn't know what pressure was. They were just on robot mode. They were just on machine mode. Win, 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 win. Like you're not
Yeah.
scaring them. I think this Liverpool team would be scared of pressure because of their history in the Premier League, because of what they've given up in the past in commanding positions. Like again, are we in a? It's just that are we in a good enough position right now? Did we put ourselves in a strong enough position as a team, as a club, as a squad to be able to chase them down? That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah,
So
that's
with
the one part, right? Like Liverpool, they and it's funny. Pep took a shot at them in his press conference. He said, like Arsenal, Spurs, City, they've been impacted by injuries. Liverpool really haven't had any injuries. Like, okay, we're gonna have Liverpool fans in the comments be like, "Oh, we've had this, this, or this." Okay, okay, let's be real. Like Bournemouth, Spurs, us, City, like we've had like significant injuries. Yes, maybe they've had a knock here or there, but they haven't lost Salah. They haven't lost Van Dijk.
Very
They
true.
haven't lost it, I think they lost Jota for a couple months, but you have Gakpo, Nunez, Luis Diaz. You could put Curtis Jones up there, and you still have Mo Salah. So they haven't really lost anything that would impact their title running. But the game at Villa away, then City away. City's kind of in form, but apparently Holland tore his ACL. They're waiting for the scans to come back, so that's going to be
Yeah.
huge.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah. Because I rewatched the it was a non and I know we're going off topic, but it was a non-contact injury. He was trying to press, and he when he put his foot down, his knee buckled, and I think I am pretty sure like I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL because right away he clutched his knee. So
Wow, I didn't hear about that.
yeah. So
Wow, that's
again, I might
interesting.
be wrong. They're doing the scans, but Pep wasn't. I watched his press conference. He said it's not good. Doesn't look good.
Like, bro, where was that last year when we were chasing them? You know what I mean? Like, what? You're
Yeah.
pissing me off right now.
Yeah. But
Serious.
like if we beat, we should be West Ham. We got Forest away. That is,
And I want to, sorry, guys, come in on this real quick and ask Laurent, like, your opinion of this game because you've been bigging up Nottingham Forest all season too, and they've dropped some big games lately. Like they lost just yesterday to Fulham 2-1. Like we had this thing about are they going to finish top four? Aren't they? And I told you I would put money on the fact that I don't think they're going to finish in the top four. They've had a really good season so far, but they're still Forest at the end of the day. With all due
they're
respect, like, they're not getting top four for me.
yeah.
But you've been
They're on
really convinced by them.
47. They're on 47 points. City's on
Yeah.
44. Bournemouth 43. Chelsea 43. Newcastle 41.
So yeah, I mean, so Laurent, you've been convinced by them, So what do you think of this game? And including not now the dynamics might have changing and shifting a little bit because Forest has been inconsistent with their form lately. Like what do you think about that game? Forest versus Arsenal.
I mean, I do feel I do think it's not going to be as easy of a game that you guys make it seem like, and it's like,
Oh, I never said it was gonna
Oh,
be an easy game.
I just said it's going to be hard. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be one of like for our remaining fixtures. I think it's going to be one of the hardest ones.
Oh, 110% for sure.
no, but
Yeah,
that's on the same tune, dude. You've always like I remember even earlier on when they were on this run, like I told you this last time, we went out and we caught the game together. You've always discounted this team. I don't know why, right? But it was clear that they were showing that they were willing to at least compete for a top four position this year, right? At some point. And it's like everyone saw it, right? Most people saw it. On top of that, their striker, last name Wood, right?
Chris
Chris,
Uh,
Wood, yeah.
yeah, that guy. Um, he's been performing, right? He's been performing for them. The only thing, right, with that team is they're probably not as sound defensively, right, as a competing team should be, which is where most of their problem lies, right? So yeah, you can score that many goals, but you concede as well, right? And then you don't get the points, right? But all in all, man, this is what a second place team versus a third place team. You show up on game day, you play to the competition, right? To me, it could go anyway on that day, right? But
yeah,
yeah, it's one
it's
of
at
those
their
if
ground. It's at their
yeah.
ground. It's an away game, and the city ground is notorious for they held Liverpool again. They're the only team to beat Liverpool this year. Um, it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game, and Nuno Espirito Santos is, um, doing his thing. The only and from watching the Amazon documentary for Arsenal, the only thing that I can see Arteta doing is trying to make this a grudge match because I do left Arsenal for Forest to take over. Um, what's the owner's name? Miakis, or the owner? I keep
Yeah, the
forgetting.
Greek guy for the Forest.
Yeah, Marinakis. Sorry,
Yeah,
Marinakis
this guy.
taking over his clubs. Um, but you know they've had a crazy turnaround. Last year, I think they were fighting relegation, and now all of a sudden, and they had like points deduction, and now all of a sudden they're third. So it's a huge turnaround. And shout out to Chris Wood. Like this man he's gonna play Champions League next year from the looks of it.
Bro, you guys just relax. They're not getting Champions League. Holy man, what's wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
Oh,
At
fuck.
least now it's yeah, you've been recorded. So now this because every time he talks, there's no capture of evidence whatsoever, so you can just easily backtrack. Oh no, I didn't say that. But now there's proof, right? So we'll come back to
Oh,
this recording and yeah.
Listen, we had this debate at the bar. We can have this debate right now since it's being recorded. I said they are not getting top four. Where do you stand, Mr. Laurent?
Geez,
Are they getting top four? Yes or no?
was it with
so the
my mortgage
points
on the
total,
line?
I'll do the points totals again. So right now we got Liverpool at 60, Arsenal 53, Forest 47, City 44, Bournemouth in the Europa spot at 43 points, Chelsea tied with them on 43, the difference being goal differential. We got Newcastle 41. I think Fulham and Villa are realistic to kind of push. Fulham is at 39 and Villa is at 38 points.
Hmm.
So, Mr. Laurent,
I
are they
mean,
getting top four? Yes or no?
so okay, the only teams that you mentioned there that I can see being an issue for them would be City, right? Obviously, Chelsea, very rocky. Chelsea almost like we've lost a piece of identity, right? Plus,
Piece of your identity. You guys didn't even have an identity. What are you
no,
talking
but
about?
we were definitely building on to something, right? Which is why, like at some point, everyone's like, "Oh, Chelsea's in the title race, right?" Yeah, like we're like second. I think before Christmas time or something like that.
You
But
guys could have gone up top. You guys could have, where's
yeah, no,
Abramovich when you need him? He would have sacked Maresca
Whereas-
after one loss. He would have been like, "Hey, get out of here.
yeah, that's
I'll get
wild.
him, get someone else."
That's wild. No. Yeah, but and then yeah, like you said, Villa newly upgraded, right? So I think, and then Newcastle as well. But
Newcastle is gonna make that push. Remember that because they
yeah,
want to keep Isak. Isak already said if they don't make Champions League, he wants out.
mm, right, right. Um,
You want me to read you their upcoming fixtures so you can make more of an educated decision?
hold on, let me
Bro, no, forget that, man. We're asking him right here, right now. I didn't need to see any points
go over
totals. I
that.
didn't need to see any mathematics. I just said they're not making top four. I want a yes or no answer right here, right now. What's it gonna be, Laurent? You're on the spot. This
You
guy's
know
doing
what?
his homework.
I'll do it for the underdog. Oh yeah, yeah. They're in there. They're in there.
This guy. All right.
Yep.
Mehrdad, top four, yes or no?
No, I think they're gonna fizzle out. I think they'll get Europa. I think they'll get Europa, and I think if they do get Champions League, it might be because like I don't know, Liverpool winning Champions League and then having that extra spot or something ridiculous like that. But I don't like in the top four. I don't think so. I think as much as I hate to say it, I think Chelsea and Newcastle will push top four. I think City. I think City's gonna stay there, and yeah, you never know. You might see Bournemouth sneak into that Europa spot or push for that Europa League spot.
All
Funny
right.
enough, outside of top four, I actually heard there's a rumor that five teams might get Champions League this year. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Are they
Wait for
extend?
English?
For
For
England, yeah. And then what happened is I think this happened last season, and I think Germany, if I'm not mistaken, got five Champions League spots. But depending on how good, the domestic teams do in Europe, like in the Champions League, they might
right,
get an extra spot.
right,
It's
right.
something about the coefficient. Like you might get an extra spot if the clubs in your league do well in Europe. That potentially will give the domestic team, say if it's England or Spain, whatever, five teams as opposed to four, because it shows the strength of the league, right? Like, you have strong teams going strong in Europe, so that league will be rewarded an extra spot. It might not even have been Germany, it might have been Spain last season. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense because when you look at
But
the top eight that went to the round of 16, Prem has three, being Liverpool, Arsenal, and Villa. You got the Spanish league, have Barcelona, Atletico, and then you have France, who is Lille out of all teams. Lille is seventh. And then you got the Serie A where we got Inter Milan at fourth, and then no, sorry, only Inter Milan. So yeah, the Prem's
Mhm.
up there. And then when you look at the knockout, the qualifiers, um, you got City in there, obviously, and then it's pretty much French league and kind of all the riffraff. So yeah, I wouldn't like if that happens, then maybe Forest have a chance. But even then, I honestly think they drop out. I don't know. There's just something about them that worries me. I don't know what it is. Um, and they're still in. If I'm not mistaken, they're still in the FA Cup. Let me just check. Yeah, they're still in the FA Cup. So like they got Newcastle away next, then Arsenal at home. They got Ipswich at home for FA Cup. Then they got City at home. Then they're away at Ipswich. Then United at home, Villa, Everton, Spurs. They finished the season off with Chelsea, so that might be the decider to see which one of them gets top four or not. So, and then after Forest, we got Lonely Man United. Let me scroll down. Where are they sitting at now? They're sitting 15th. Relegation, they're on 29 points.
Like over
Like,
10 points off of relegation. They're good.
yeah, they're 12 points. They're 12 points away from Ipswich. Um, did you guys watch the game today? Did you see their bench? There's
Bunch
all
of kids, man.
17-year-olds and then Lindelof.
Menu?
Everyone was out. Yeah, yeah. Kobe Manu was out. Amad Diallo was out. They played Casemiro. It was weird. It was a weird game. And Spurs won 1-0. Like they could have scored two or three goals. It was a weird
Our
game.
our old young boy came off the bench.
Yeah, Chovy. Yeah,
Yeah,
um,
two Bobby Martins or whatever, 17-year-old.
yeah.
Could use
Man,
him right now. Damn.
if he was still here, he
Yeah,
he would have been starting.
he would have been playing for sure, probably. Crazy.
Yeah, but listen, United away, we should win.
Should win because they're not like that good, man. Like
We
this is
should
the
win.
worst United team I've seen in years, bro. But again, it'll come back down to the factor of not having, a strong enough attack. I don't know. Here's the way I see it for Arsenal. Like, I know we're talking about the fixtures at the moment, but just quickly, like I feel like in most of our games, we're gonna need to get the first goal because if teams get the first
Hmm.
goal, with the shortness of our attack already, bro, look at that first half against Leicester on the weekend. We showed nothing. That first half was dreadful. Like, you know what I mean? So if teams like, Newcastle has a perfect blueprint on how to play Arsenal. You score
Yep.
first, you defend with a low block, you defend properly. Arsenal can't break you down because we just don't have the firepower, up top, sort of thing. And
Mhm.
and I know I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself because I said I know we create chances, but it's also about finishing the chances that we create. And
Yeah.
we can create chances, but if we're not putting them in the back of the net, what the hell's the point?
We
So
don't have
my
those
fear
moments. We don't have those
my
moments.
fear, and that's my thing. And so my fear is if we score first, I think we're good more often than not because we have such a solid back line and defense
Yeah.
and whatnot. But we got to get the first goal. But if teams get the first goal on us, it's gonna be 10 times harder for us to break them down. So
Hmm.
that's my fear going into grounds like United and whatever. If those teams get the first
Forest.
goal, they'll just sit and
Yeah.
try to force us to break them down. That's my fear.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Lauren, anything on your part?
In regards to that United game, I mean, obviously you guys are expected to win, in my opinion. You guys are expected to win, right? For what was it, FA? When you guys lost out to them?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys were expected to win then, but right? Expectations and then there's results.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
you know, and yeah, and I think in like, and I've been telling CJ this for the past like year and a bit, but it's always right. Like Arsenal just gets to the near the finish line, right? They have all these expectations, but they just fail to deliver time and time again because they simply do not have the hunger, right? Or the even the desire to want to like, go in there and take it for themselves. Like even I remember you mentioned this, right? Like I don't know if you remember, but you were this idea that you have to wait for other teams to not perform or to allow us to win, right? But you can't think like that, right? It's like when you're in that position, it shouldn't matter, right? Whether these teams are not suffering from injuries and whatnot, right? You're just going in there, game in, game out, and you're getting the results, right? Because I feel like now, if you're right, it's like if you're now depending on these teams to, suddenly, right, drop a few steps, right? It's like, is that really champion mentality? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no way the City team, right, when they were on their right on their uptrend there when Pep came in, right? They're like, oh, maybe we'll wait for Liverpool to, like, no, like it's like you're going in there, you're getting the job done, and if they get it done on their end, then you know that the next game you have to then show up and give even more, right? And mind you, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a season where City won the league having lost more games than Liverpool. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like, do you on a quick sidebar, do you think it's from an outsider?
Mm.
Do you think it's the fan base or do you think it's the club that has that mentality? Do you think it's a fan base saying, "Oh, when City drop off, we'll win it. It's our time," or do you think it's actually like? Do you get a feel that it's like the club's mentality?
Oh, okay,
By
okay,
by
right. So
club, I mean, I don't
yeah,
think
like the
I
players,
yeah,
like
I don't think this is Arteta's mentality or the players' mentality, but do you think it's like the board and the owners that that's what their mentality is that's slowly seeping through?
so okay, yeah. So first and foremost, like the mentality I've described, I like even if it's like the fans, I don't think that has any bearing or effect on like what the players like then produce, right, on the pitch, right? You see what I'm saying? So obviously it's within that realm, right? Whether you're saying it's the board and it trickles down, right? But my point is like even when you're watching these games, right, and you're just watching how like certain players are in terms of like even like the basic work rate, right? It all starts from the small, the small stuff. And you kind of notice, man, some of these players, it's like, or I assume it's like even from the coaches, like, like what they drill down to them, right? But there's something there that is not clicking. For example, you have City, like I remember last year or the year before, City goes down a goal, right? And I believe there was a stat where it's like they could go down a goal, but suddenly out of nowhere, it becomes like almost like you've like stepped into a lion's den. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like you can tell that that team is putting pressure to get back into the game, right? And now almost like they score the first one, and now they're calculating off of the momentum, right? Off of that first goal. And so now they were down 1-0 at half, and the game ends like 3-1, 4-1, right? But they conceded the first goal. So it's kind of like it's just that mentality, that desire that man, I like, we don't want to lose. We don't want to tie either. Because also I feel like sometimes some teams too where it's like, oh yeah, we can still get a point, right? But you can't think like that. It's about the 3 points, right? And like I told you, like that season, Liverpool lost one game. City, I believe, lost four, right? But Liverpool tied a lot more games than City did. And
Mm.
they edged them out by 1 point. I think it was like yeah, either 199 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like the 90, 98,
Yeah.
99 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I think like for me it's like the biggest thing is like the mentality, man. It's the mentality and like that's why even CJ he brings up like the Abramovich era, right? Because there's a certain mentality that comes when you have an owner that knows what he wants.
Ambition.
Yeah.
Ambition. That's the
Ambition.
word.
Yeah, yeah. And
Sorry,
did you
CJ, I stole your word.
did you guys hear about like apparently like during the Abramovich era, the guy would show up in the change room
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
games. Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, and imagine you're a player, right? And you see like you're the owner coming in. You see what I'm saying? It puts you at ease, right? Or sorry, not at ease. It puts you, you feel very uneasy sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Depending on what if you didn't perform that game, right? Because now there's accountability that's being ensured, right? And yeah, which is I think is very important, right? Like all of these things, right? But
The
yeah,
little things. It's the little things.
it's
Like,
a exactly.
yeah, Marinakis is doing that. I think it was last year when he was on the pitch. So, like, when you see your when you see the owner, when you see your quote unquote leader fighting for you and
Right.
doing that, it gives you that extra, oomph, it gives you that
Right.
extra, 5-10% to get into those tackles. But okay,
Exactly.
fair enough.
And you see,
Last,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
want to say something on that. Sorry to cut you off for that. I want to say something on that quickly, Laurent, because me and you have been debating, and we'll get into this topic another day. Like,
Mm,
listeners, if you're for those listening, me and the boys have had debates about Arteta in, Arteta out, and that will be a whole that could be a whole other episode in itself. But just quickly on that, you brought up the point about Roman Abramovich and what he's done and how he's instilled a winning mentality into Chelsea, and that's the example I gave you about his owners. Your previous owners versus our owners and ambition and what it comes down to at the end of the day. Roman
right.
Abramovich, Chelsea will finish second and fire the coach. That's ambition, like it's
Mm-hmm.
ruthlessness, but it's worked for them. And Chelsea, statistically, have been the most success since 2004, whatever it is that Chelsea took over. It pains me because Chelsea took Arsenal's spot. Let's be real. Okay, it was Man U and Arsenal for the longest time when we were
Yep.
growing up, elementary school, high school. There are only two jerseys kids were wearing in school. It's Man U or Arsenal. Man U, Arsenal. Those are the two top dogs. Mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Roman Abramovich came in just after Arsenal won the Invincibles, in and around that time. Chelsea took our spot. Then it became Man U and Chelsea. And us Arsenal fans had to painfully watch Chelsea, go to battle with Man U while we just slip down the line. Chelsea's winning Champions Leagues before us. Historically, Arsenal's a bigger club than Chelsea. We all know this, but we've now watched Chelsea win two Champions Leagues before we've won one. You know how painful that is for Arsenal fans.
And a Club
That's not
World Cup.
acceptable.
They won a Club World Cup as well.
That's not acceptable in my opinion. So when we go now and we talk about ambition and when Laurent, when you're I'm having debates with guys that we play soccer with, Laurent and Mehrdad, and we talked about Arteta and Arteta out, and Laurent, more often than not, it seems like you've been on the Arteta defense train, but I'm saying to you, like as a Chelsea fan, will Roman Abramovich have ever accepted not winning a trophy, a manager not winning a trophy in 5 years? No chance. A manager can win the Champions League at Chelsea under Roman Abramovich, but the next season, if he's not performing, he's not even lasting the season. He's out, and even though he won a Champions League, that's real credit in the bank.
Right.
So I just wanted to comment on that because he brought up what Abramovich has done in terms of ambition, in terms of all that, and it's clearly where we stand now, and our owner's lack of ambition, and not necessarily the manager's lack of ambition, because Arteta wants to win. I have no doubt about that. But my question has always been: is he good enough to get us over the line? 5 years in, one trophy. Lack of proper recruitment. Lack of recruitment in the forward line.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that's a whole other debate for
That's
another day.
a
But yeah, ironically enough, as Laurent brought up Roman Abramovich, I just wanted to bring up some discussion points on that. But we can move on, boys, to the European roundup. It is Champions League this coming week. There's some crucial ties. Did anyone watch the Real Madrid Man City last week?
oof,
Yeah.
best game. It
It was
was.
a quality game.
But okay. Miles Lewis Skelly got so much hate for his Holland celebration. Now, what on earth, and I understand that this might have been the supporters doing this, but what on earth are City fans thinking poking Vinicius? You guys know what I'm talking about, the banner?
Yeah.
I understand they're quoting
That
a
Oh, the
banner
song.
Rodri, the Rodri banner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I understand, and even there was a poster when the Madrid players came in and they said after the game, that gave us a little bit more energy. Like, listen, man, listen, City fans, this is for you. You've only been relevant for the last 9 years since Pep's been around. You're not a relevant club. Your fan base is literally selling tickets to Madrid. That City game, there was more Madrid fans than City fans. There are no City fans. You guys don't have a fan base. You think you have a fan base. You do not have a fan base. When you go around the world, yes, you have Erling Haaland. Everyone buys a Haaland jersey. I promise you, if Haaland played for Wrexham, people would buy Wrexham jerseys. You do not have a fan base. So why on earth do you think that you can poke the bear of the biggest club in the Champions League? 15 trophies. This is coming from an Arsenal fan who doesn't have a Champions League trophy. Give me all the hate. They won 15 trophies. Let's be real now. Let's be real.
Jeez, Mehrdad, we're about to lose our Man City subscribers. All five.
15 trophies. Do not poke the bear. You got what you wanted. You literally, and you're poking the bear. Do not do like listen, man.
The
Listen,
five Man City fans in the world aren't going to be happy with your comments.
listen. My cousin goes to enough City games, and he's called me from there, and he's literally sitting. He's like, "Oh, I'm sitting next to all these Liverpool fans." Like, you guys don't have true diehard fans. You may have a very select, maybe 10, 15 people who are probably in their 60s, 70s, been watching City back in the glory days of, as Savino said, I've been watching it since I was a little boy. Like what, when City was fighting relegation and championship or, League One. But, anyways, why poke the bear? I'm going to stop my rant, but why poke the bear?
Honestly,
You
I
need to,
think, listen, as long as it's like within like it's respectful, I think it's good. I think it's good for football as a whole. I think it's good for everyone, right? One as a player, if you see that, then
yeah.
you got to perform.
Game on, bro. It's game
Yeah,
on.
if anything, I'm willing to say, man, Vinicius Junior needed that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he needed that, right? And yeah, it's like I said, right? Like, as long as it's you're being respectful, right? There's no because I know in certain countries, right, or certain clubs as well, right? You have like it gets into like the like racism and things like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's uncalled for, unwarranted, right? None of that.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
all the nonsense that we need out of
yeah,
sports.
exactly. But if it's like the banter like that, right? Like, is it, he was thinking that he
Fair enough.
deserved that Ballon d'Or, right? But the other guy got it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember when I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, it's
See,
really
like,
right." And
listen, you don't have Kyle Walker. You're playing Manuel Akanji, and then you bring on Rico Lewis. Like,
mm,
Vinny is probably sitting there being like, "Really, really, Pep? You're putting Akanji like that's how much you're disrespecting my pace? Like, like Rico Lewis was doing like he was a ballerina. He didn't know where to look. Anyways, listen. I get your point. I get your point, but don't poke the bear, man. Don't poke the bear. Like you got what you needed. Like Jude Bellingham, like Brahim Diaz coming on and just that was one of the games, and
yeah, no, for sure.
I got
That
my
was a close.
popcorn ready, boys. I got my popcorn ready.
For sure. Wait, so what are you guys expecting for the second leg?
Total
I think,
annihilation.
geez, I wouldn't personally, I wouldn't go that far, but I think Madrid got it though. Like
Yeah.
we're going back to the Bernabeu, their ground, their European
Mhm.
pedigree and experience. Like, there's no way they're letting that slip. If they do, that'll be
Yeah.
insane. But
And
I
if
think they got
Holland's
it. Like,
out, dude,
mm,
that's another
true.
nail in the coffin.
Right, right. Wait, Holland out. Who's the guy that they would bring in?
Probably Marmouche.
Uh,
Yeah, he only went and scored a hat trick on the weekend. No big deal.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, bro. The guy's gone for six. That's ambition again. I'm gonna use the freaking word ambition.
mm,
These guys went and got Marmouche for 60 mil. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's almost in today's market for a good forward, 60 mils is a fair price, and that's almost like a bargain if I'm being honest. Like, and the guy went and scored a hat trick in his second or third game. Like, bro, it's just insane. Like, that's quality for you. And that's what the money will get you. And if Holland's out, that's unfortunate. But they got a guy now, Marmouche, who's probably ready to step up and take the mantle. So let's see. But
right.
he'll step up for sure, I think, and he'll relish the opportunity if Holland's going to be out.
Probably a discussion for another day, but I've heard um City are doing that because of the 115 potentially and being charged and having a transfer ban. Maybe, maybe it's something to do with something like that. But either way, the fact that Arsenal did not go in under any circumstances and said, "Oh, Marmouche is ungettable," blah 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 blah. When there's ambition, you put the money on the table, you can get whatever you want. We're not living in a world where it doesn't run on money. We're living in a world that runs on money.
Funny enough, yeah.
Um, a couple of the games that are really really key, especially from an Arsenal lens, because we know we're either going to face one of Juve, PSV, or Feyenoord, Milan. Looks like Juve is going to move on. They're up 2-1. I still have my money on Juve. I don't know. I don't really trust PSV. I think it is at PS. Yeah, it's in Eindhoven. Maybe that might give him a track, but Italians defending and Thiago Motta, they just actually beat Inter Milan today, 1-0.
Saw
Um,
that.
yeah, that was a crazy game. And then you got Feyenoord actually beating AC Milan, but again, it's at the Milano Stadium. So I don't know. CJ, do you have a preference on who we face?
Out of those four teams, the preference, not really, man. I mean, we're not, it's not like we're talking about a disparity between, respectfully, like a Celtic versus Real Madrid, where it's like, oh, I desperately want like Celtic because I want to avoid Real Madrid. Like any of those four teams that we just mentioned, between Juve, PSV, Feyenoord, AC Milan, like they're all comparable, in terms of like their level. The Italian teams probably had the edge historically as well, over like a PSV and a Feyenoord. But so if we get any four of those teams, like I'm not just bring it on. I guess like I'm not scared per se of any four of those teams. Again, none of them are like a Real Madrid, Prime, Barcelona, where I'm like shit, like I'm shitting my pants.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, yeah, whatever happens out of that happens, and whoever we draw between those fours, we draw. It would be nice to get like a Juve or whatever because we haven't played an Italian team, in like a knockout round for a long time. So it would be cool to to play one of the bigger traditional Italian clubs. But let's see what happens.
The crazy part of this all is I'm looking at the bracket right now. So let's just say we get either side of the bracket, wherever we get, we're either going to face Madrid or after that, if let's just say we win when we get to the semis, we're either going to face Madrid or Bayern. Now we know what happened last year with Bayern. And again, not having a forward, like
Madrid would be hilarious because that game would just be attack versus defense because
pretty
Madrid can't
much.
defend
No.
and we're all defense, no attack, and Madrid is pure attack, no defense. So that game would be interesting to watch.
Yeah. I think, and I hope that people don't get mad at me for saying this, but I think um same way when the Carabao Cup draw came, if we had played at St. James's Park first and the second leg was at the Emirates, I think we could have won just because the game style would have been different. So I think whether we're facing Madrid or Bayern, if the second leg is at home, I would I would say we have, and I'm what I mean by chance, I'm saying if it's 50-50, I would give us 55-45. I wouldn't go by saying like, oh, 70% we're gonna win. But I think it would give us that slight edge knowing that we're playing the second leg at home. But that like when I look at it and then it's a
No,
huge
I understand what you're saying. Like second leg being at home makes a difference, and I think actually that's going to be the case. Like that's what happens when you finish within that top eight seed. I believe what it gives you in terms of advantage is that you get to have the home leg at home, the second leg,
yeah.
which is obviously a little bit of an extra beneficial factor there. But yeah, I mean that can make a difference to your point. Like who knows what can happen on a European night when you have the second leg at your ground and you have the fans behind you. It could be something special. So. See.
And Bayern, I don't know if you guys caught the Leverkusen Munich game. I believe it was yesterday.
I
Bayern
watched some of it.
they didn't like they
Yeah,
looked.
Bayern is not looking like the Bayern we all used to love and hate, you
Listen, I'm
know?
not trying to. I'm not trying to hate. I'm not trying to hate because look who they brought up. They brought on Serge Gnabry, Sane. Who else did they bring on? They they brought Goretzka, like Stanich. Oh my god, I can't even say his last name. But like they didn't wow me. I wasn't like, oh my lord, like this is the Bayern where they had Ribery, Iron Robben, like it even compared to last year. Like last year, I know they got smoked by Leverkusen, but I don't know what's going on with their front line. So I wouldn't want to face them. I really hope Celtic do something because they're 2-1 down. Um, but they felt a little. I don't know. They didn't worry me as much. Any other big fixtures you guys got in mind for Champions League or Europa? I don't really want to talk about Europa, but
Hmm. All right, you want to talk about Europa? Oh wait, you guys aren't even in Europa either. That's awkward. You guys are in the tier below that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, you're gonna have to you a bit lower.
Listen, I'm trying to look at the score app, but where is Conference League? I don't even think the score app keeps track of Conference League. Do I have to go like where do I go to find Conference League, bro? Can you
Honestly, yeah. Just know, bro, that's another trophy for us in the bag.
Yeah, it could be.
listen if fucking better be.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, if he cannot pull this, like, and bring this trophy home, I say it's time to go, man. Like,
Chelsea's playing a bunch of teams that looks like they're from like a Wi-Fi password.
Bro, literally the
16.
only
Wow.
competition is Real Betis. I'm looking at and Fiorentina maybe. You guys have 26 goals for, 5 against. And
Jeez.
I'm not going to even try to say half of these names. When I'm looking online and they don't even have their badge, like
yeah,
what
that's
is
when you know it's
Noah?
bad.
Bro, what is Noah? Noah FC? Like,
Hmm.
sorry if you're a Noah FC fan. I really don't know where it's from, but like Betis is there, Copenhagen. Bro, Laurent, if you guys,
Yeah,
I'm just
Florentina.
waiting.
Yeah, no. No, definitely we have to perform. Um, but like I said, man, like, on any given day, any given match, any opposition, I think you just go in there, right? You take it seriously. Or else you end up looking like Spurs.
Hmm.
Yeah, you guys remember that game? Spurs versus what was that? Um Man, I forgot that team's name. But apparently like they were all a bunch of like full-time like plumbers.
Oh, their FA Cup draw. Um, oh my lord,
Like so they took him to extra time.
yeah, they're yeah, I know who it. Hold on. Let me get that team name. Yeah, they were. Yeah, I know exactly what game we're talking about.
Was this in what
Um,
competition was this in?
this is FA Cup. This was Tamworth,
Yeah.
Tamworth FC.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, that was, and I
Yeah.
was watching that game. I was like, "Yo, is this like?" I know it finished 3-0, but that was after 90 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, like you said, plumbers and like guys who like have a day job and are
Mhm.
barely practicing took the mighty Spurs,
Right.
who've been to a Champions League final, to extra time. I'm all for it, bro. I'm all for it.
So that's what I'm saying, man. Like as a Chelsea fan, being in that competition where clearly we're favorites to win, it's one of those days like you can't allow right that to get into your head. You respect your opposition at the end of the day, right? And yeah, you should go out there, you perform, and you get the job done, right? Or else things like that start to happen, right? Guys come in, right, thinking, oh, it's light work, and then suddenly, like these guys take you to overtime, and it's 0-0.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if I'm a manager and like I'm seeing that, I swear, like players are gonna have to like I'm subbing players off, right? Like I don't care if I put you in like 5 minutes before, I'm taking you off. And as a player, right? Like that's probably the worst thing to want to
Mm-hmm.
happen, right? You've been subbed on, and then now you're suddenly being taken off, right? Like, but it's like yeah, like because you got to get the message across, right? Like, and at the same time too, there's a certain level of like I think like almost I don't want to say if it's like it's not ego, but more so if you know you're better, right, in all aspects, then these guys can't be doing that to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not like yeah, it's the badge, it's everything, right? Like the so yeah, no. I think that the conference league is for us to win, and hopefully, if we do win that, actually, it's now we won all trophies, all major European trophies. So this is the last one.
All major
Yeah,
European trophy.
yeah,
I didn't realize Conference League was a major trophy.
yeah, man. Hey,
I
it's
mean,
Heard that.
Jose
Don't even
won
laugh.
it.
Don't
Jose,
laugh. I can't even. I can't hate.
I
Jeez,
know I'm
I'll do
teasing.
it.
I'm
At
teasing.
this point,
Listen,
I'll do anything for a cup of some sort.
yeah,
Jeez.
fuck. Um, okay, let's do the rival radar. I just got I have the Liverpool upcoming schedule, and I'm really only going to focus on Liverpool because that seems to be our I think I truly think it's a two horse race. So this Wednesday they have Villa away. Sunday they have City the 26th. They got United at home. Um, and then March they have Southampton at home. In between that game and their League Cup final with versus Newcastle on the 16th, they probably have a Champions League game. And then before their April fixture, they have the second leg, which is TBD. And then April, they got Everton at home, which is going to be like have the popcorn ready because that Decore Curtis Jones, like that was a crazy end to the game. They got
Mm.
Fulham away, West Ham at home, Leicester away, Spurs at home, Chelsea away, then the title decider potentially May 10th, Arsenal at home. And then they got Brighton away, and then they finish off the season with Palace. So when I kind of look at their schedule, they're real tough matches. Newcastle at home. So the next three are the tough matches. Villa away, City away, Newcastle at home. And then I'm looking at I don't think in April, no disrespect to any of these teams, Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, Spurs. No disrespect. Unless Spurs get their whole roster back, I don't think those are going to be tough games. And then maybe Chelsea. Maybe Chelsea. Obviously, the Arsenal game is going to be the title decider, but other than that, maybe Chelsea's the tough game. I don't know if I'm missing someone else, but they don't have a lot of tough games left.
Are you including City and Newcastle and
Yeah.
the
Their next
oh,
three games, 100%. The next three
yeah.
games are tough, but
Mhm.
beyond that, like the next tough game after that would be Chelsea away in May, and then the Arsenal game at home. Like I don't see Leicester being that difficult. Unfortunately, that's an away game. I don't see Brighton again. They're on good form, but uh, we're talking about Liverpool. Like I don't know. I might be wrong.
Laurent, you wanna speak on that one? I know Liverpool's your second team or your first team. I'm not sure these days, but let us know what your
Uh,
thoughts are.
yeah, that's hilarious. Uh, and I know quality when I see it is all. Like, and that's from even like when earlier in the season. To me, this team seems like they've just been re-energized, right? From the moment Klopp left and Arne Slot took over, uh, they came out the gates like no hiccups, right? They just gelled and they've executed. Up to this point, to me, it's been like a near perfect season for these guys. I know you guys are saying you're not City, they're gonna fall off, right? But if I'm being completely honest, even from the three games you listed there, right? Villa, City, Newcastle, I can see them taking all 9 points. If this team,
Wow.
Yeah.
if this Liverpool team comes in and plays the way they've been playing up to this point, yeah, like to me, they're I think the best team in Europe currently in terms of
Yeah,
just
100%.
yeah,
No questioning that. They're the best
yeah.
team.
I know in on the Spanish side, the manager for Atleti, he thinks that Barca currently, right, well, at least within the parameters of Spain, right, that Barca is the best team, right? They play well together, right? They're a very good team, but there's something about, and it's not just the team, it's the manager, and I keep telling CJ's it, right? But when you watch this team play, unlike our manager, right, at Chelsea, and a lot of other managers at different clubs, right? It's the manager's ability to adapt in game, right? That to me is like it's so key because sometimes your star players, right, or the players you count on, maybe they don't produce, right, or you realize there's just something going on in this game, right, that it just isn't working. And so far, Arne Slot has been able to adapt each and every time. He's making the right substitutions, right? When halftime comes, whatever he's telling his players, right, in the change room, is definitely impacting how they're performing second half, right? And right earlier in the show, you guys, I think CJ was like, well, they've had these recent games, they barely scraped by, right? I think even their last game. But sometimes, right, that's how it is. You're not gonna beat a team 5-0, right? 3-1 or with any big score line. But it's the fact that you're able to get over the line, even on the days where you're not playing your best, right? And this team has they just constantly showed that, right? They've lost one game, like in the Premier League, right? So it's like at this point, I'm just looking at the historical data, man. Like, if you guys see something else, then by all means, man, tell me like from where are these points, right? That they're going to drop off.
I don't see a lot of points being dropped. Like the next three games, in my opinion, are aside from the Arsenal game after that, the next three games are, I hate to say it, but the title decider. If they get 9 out of 9, like I don't even want Arsenal to play like to bring if they bring Saka back, I don't want them to play single minute in the Premier League. Focus on Champions League.
Mm.
Like if they go 9 out of 9 against this team, like Villa, City, who's in form, and Newcastle United, like it's over. It's a wrap. I don't know, CJ. Do you think it's different?
TJ doesn't look
Hmm.
too pressed.
I brought up, yeah, like I've spoken on Liverpool already, so I don't want to go over it. Like, and my overall overriding thing is like, yeah, if they get 9 out of 9, then kudos. Like, they have one hand on the trophy for sure, because that's a tough run, bro. Like, that's a super tough run. I don't care what anyone says. Villa away, who's pushing for Champions League. Um, City away, and City's just picked up form. Either way, whether they beat Madrid on Wednesday and go through, or yeah, what's the game on Wednesday? I think it's
Yeah.
Wednesday in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Whether they beat Madrid and go through, or they lose to Madrid and go out, that game on Sunday versus Liverpool will still be a tough game because it'll be one of two things. Either City will need to bounce back after a loss to Real Madrid, and their fans and the club are not going to accept two L's, big L's in a row. So they're going to, if they go out to Madrid, which I expect, they're going to be expected to bounce back on the weekend and get a big result against a big team in Liverpool. And there's going to be an element of City still wanting to show Liverpool that you may win the league this year, but we'll be back. We're still the top dogs in this league. We dominated you in this league for the last 5 years. I think there'll be an element of that. If they lose to Madrid. If they beat Madrid, then they're just going to continue on their high. As Mehrdad said, they're in form. So if they beat Madrid, it'll be an even tougher game for Liverpool on the weekend because, City is going to continue their good form. They'll be on a big high, a bounce, a good winning run. So either way, that's going to be a tough game for Liverpool. That's the one game of the next three that I think they're likely to draw points in.
Mm.
If they go and beat City away, if they beat City at the Etihad, then kudos to them. Like I said, they're close to pretty much getting that one hand on that trophy, bro. Like, but that's the one of the three I'm hoping at least that they drop points or even lose. But yeah, like I said, if they pick up 9 out of 9, then good on them. Bernard, just quickly, I don't know which one of you guys had the schedule up, but very quickly, who are their next three after this three? So they have Villa, City, and Newcastle. Who's the next? What are the next three games after
Next
that?
three. Give me one sec. I'll pull it. After this three, their next three is Southampton League Cup against Newcastle, and in between the
Okay.
Southampton game March 8th and the Newcastle game March 16th, they're gonna have the Champions League. So they're only gonna have four
Okay.
games
Yeah.
in March.
Okay.
Like they're gonna crush Southampton. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then Newcastle, like, and then they start April. Everton at home, Fulham away, West Ham at home, Leicester away, Spurs at home. Like
Okay.
that Spurs game can be tricky if Spurs, like, if they have their whole entire lineup there, like Van de Ven, Romero, Doggy, Pedro Porro, I think Basuma, Betancourt, Popsar, Madison. Like, yeah, I think they'll give them a run for their money. But if they're still playing like Archie Gray and these Bergval, like,
It's a wrap.
yeah. So I don't really see, I don't really see a lot of points dropped. But hey, it's it's the hope that kills you. Um, but so seeing as this is the
Man, boy, did you guys get hooked over the weekend? Oh man. Uh,
um anyway, seeing as this is the first podcast, obviously we don't have any fan questions, but you guys can follow us on our socials. We'll have it linked on the YouTube channel for where we post this. But if you have any questions for us, feel free to pop it in there. We'll try to have few minutes set aside for that. Um, and any closing thoughts, Laurent? We'll start with you. Any closing thoughts on what you expect for the remaining, what, like 10, 12 fixtures in the
Can
Prem
I,
and Champions League?
sorry guys, can I
Yeah.
just say real quick, before we get into the closing thoughts, I think what we should do, like under our listener segment, until we build up a few episodes and we get some feedback and responses from our listeners, um, the predictions
Oh,
section. I
yes,
think what we
yes, yes.
do, yeah, no worries. I think what we do and what we should do is we'll just do predictions as the games come along. So we're not going to go ahead and predict like 5, 6 games down the line. We'll just predict. We'll do between the three of us prediction of the next upcoming game for Arsenal, which would be in this case West Ham. And then, eventually as we go along a few episodes in and so on and so forth, I think we'll turn into like a little friendly competition thing, like scores table between us. We'll keep track of our results of our predicted games and, do a little
Right.
scores table. And then by the end of the season, see, who finishes top and maybe there'll be a little prize or something for that. But yeah, I think the three of us, we'll predict games as they come along one at a time. So I think, yeah, with this week coming up, we have West Ham at home in the Premier League on the weekend. So we'll predict that one. Who wants to go first?
I think as the resident Chelsea fan, let Laurent
All
take the
right.
wheel, my friend. Take the wheel.
All right. So that game, I'll give it Arsenal 2-0. Yeah. Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah. That's the first score.
Interesting. I'm gonna go 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Mm. Choose this one. I'm gonna go. Hmm, I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay,
Hmm.
fair enough.
2-1
Okay.
Arsenal.
All right, I'll track this. So two
Yeah, we'll
nothing
have
for
to keep track
Laurent,
of it.
1-0 for me, and 2-1 for CJ.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Any closing thoughts? Or Laurent, do any closing thoughts for the rest of the Premier League season, rest of Champions League? Sorry, not Champions League for you. Conference League. Sorry.
I mean, easy. I can, I can sense that you're not too impressed with where we're at, but like I said, it's another trophy for
Dude,
us.
I'm just like, straight up.
Right.
Let me just be clear.
Hmm.
I am jealous,
Yeah. Well, what exactly are you jealous
I
of?
wouldn't go that far, Mehrdad. It's
bro.
just
We don't have a Champions League trophy.
oh yeah, if
That
you put it
that's
like
what I'm
that.
jealous. I'm not. Hold on. Let me
I
rephrase.
thought you were jealous. You're trying to be in the Conference League or what?
No. I'm jealous of the fact that what you said, CJ, that Chelsea kind of took our spot.
Mm.
But this current Chelsea team, $1 billion in, and they're competing for top four. Ooh, I am not jealous of that. But anyways, sorry. This is your. Hold on. This is
Wait.
your.
So, what are you saying that if you guys spent that billion, that you guys would be what, winning trophies left and right? Is that what you're telling me?
Bro, we would have had. We would. 100%. If we had the transfer window and the transfer policy that Chelsea had under what's your owner's name now? Todd Bowley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Easily. We would have paid that 60 mil for Watkins. We would have triggered Nico Williams release clause. Like we're here nickel and diming for Mateus Cunha at Wolves, who's probably gonna get relegated, and you guys are here spending 100 mil on Enzo Fernandez, who had half a good season. Tell me I'm lying,
Hey man, all I'm saying is these are all what ifs, right?
bro.
And
Bro, you bought Jao Felix
and it's
on
like our other
you bought Jao Felix on loan. He
uh-huh.
went back. Then you bought him. You didn't even play him, and then you sent him out on loan, bro. If we had that transfer policy, I would take Jao Felix in a heartbeat.
Mm.
Anyways, sorry. 1 billion.
Yeah, it's a magic number. I mean, shit. Like I feel, to be honest, like had City, because they got away with all those trophies, like to me, it's all price tags, like behind the four trophies that they've accumulated back to back. Because the guy
And
keep
you guys, and sorry, I have to cut in here. You don't think Chelsea built their success on price tag?
not to the extent that this guy did it. No,
Oh, come on.
no.
Hmm. Okay. Topic for another day.
Yeah,
Hey,
for sure.
okay, okay. All right, but anyways, I won't cut you off this time. What's any any predictions for the rest of the Prem or Champions League?
Okay, so Champions League upcoming fixtures. I think Bayern is through. That's yeah, Bayern is through. Real Real City, man. I'd say Real. Also, given the fact that you guys mentioned they're going back to the Bernabeu, right? Yeah, Real. Who's still PSG, right? Is yeah, they're gonna make it through. Juve, Juve as well. Who else is in there?
You got AC Milan, Feyenoord. They're down 1-0 to.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. This AC Milan team is looking shaky. Even though they have some pretty solid names
Hmm.
on that squad, but yeah, no,
Jao
shaky team.
Felix is there.
Yeah, but honestly, like even I was watching same old Felix. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's a reason why. Like yeah, I understand. He's a quality player, but sometimes you get in there and you need that, that Cole Palmer you know, type of aura. Like you're cold.
Penalty
You're
merchant.
huh?
Penalty
I
merchant.
wouldn't go that far. Listen, I would not go that far. Yeah. Nice try though. Yeah, no, so yeah, AC Milan, I can see them getting knocked out. Uh
Ooh,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
would love that.
yeah. And yeah, overall though, beyond that, the other leagues, I mean, League One, PSG, like, yo, that league is so freaking boring. Like, I'm honestly surprised people actually like tune into that every year. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing about it that is captivating, right? It's just one team. At least like in the Bundesliga, you have Bayern, right? Some days or sorry, some years, right? Dortmund now I think mid-table, right? So
Yeah, they're 11th. They're sitting in 11th.
yeah, so yeah, they're not doing much, but it's Leverkusen right now that's
Yeah.
looking to become the second household name in that league, right? So yeah, and then in the Serie A though, Napoli I know is first, but there are some I think like the other Inter Milan and
Yes.
Juve surprisingly, like, do you guys see the stats on Juve? I think they've lost one, but they've tied like double digit.
13.
Yeah,
They're
13.
Hmm.
they're 11 wins,
Right.
13
Yeah.
draws, one loss.
Right, right. Yeah. But yeah, even that, like, to me, like, that's not good. Yeah, you're not losing, but at the same time, like, what are you really doing out there, right? Like for
Hmm.
90 minutes, like, um but yeah, so I think, yeah, like Napoli to me is looking like they can go out and take that. Yeah. Yeah.
DJ, take us away. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting into the season for sure. I don't want to make any predictions. I have no idea what the future holds for, like, both are from an Arsenal perspective and the Champions League. At this point, I think the Champions League is going to be more interesting than the Premier League from an Arsenal perspective again, because it actually be interesting to do, or maybe something we'll look on for the next episode. But what does Arsenal have more of a chance of winning at this point, the Premier League or the Champions League? It
Hmm.
almost kind of looks like the Premier League's a wrap. We're all thinking and expecting that Liverpool's gonna do the business and it's theirs to lose. But like, so that being said, the Champions League seems a little bit more wide open than people think. I think with this new format, it's made things unpredictable. Some of the big names are competing in this knockout round. When you would have expected a Man City, a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich to already be automatically through as part of the top eight. These guys are like, scraping to get by and now in the knockout rounds. So from an Arsenal perspective, I think it'll be interesting. There was a debate to be had that whilst we never won the damn fucking competition before, part of my language, there could be a better chance for us to win that, just because anything can happen in knockout competition in tournament football. Look at, I'm not, trying to have a dig at Chelsea, but look how they won their Champions Leagues. Both times they won it, I would argue they weren't even the best team in the competition, but sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. You can get fortunate in knockout rounds and knockout competitions, and one or two, fortunate draws, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a final. So that could be Arsenal's case if they, especially the way tournament football and Champions League football in particular is set up, where you have to have strong defenses and a strong back line. If we can be solid defensively, stay in games over two legs, that I think that's easier to do in terms of trying to get to a final than in the Premier League, where we have to, there's pressure on Arsenal to go out and win every game because we're chasing Liverpool, so we have to win games. We have to be on the front foot. We have to score first, and teams know that, and we have to, they're going to low block us. So from that perspective, in the Champions League, where you don't necessarily have to score first, you don't have to score right away. You can be patient when you play a team like Real Madrid or Bayern. The way we're set up, the way we're solid defensively, we can stay in a game, be patient, keep it at 0-0, keep a clean sheet up to the 80th, 90th minute, and then, sort of thing where who knows, you get a fortunate break on a corner kick, which we like to do these days, and, you nick a game 1-0. Like, again, look at how Chelsea famously won their first Champions League, against Bayern Munich, stayed in the game all the way up until the last few minutes, and then Drogba scores that header, and then the rest is history. So that's, from that perspective, I think like it could be Arsenal's best route to a trophy this season is Champions League, maybe over the Premier League. If I'm being completely honest, like I think that's something to watch over the next little bit. So we'll see. Like I said, I have no idea where we're going to go from here in terms of the season, but it'll be interesting how it plays out. More so in the Champions League, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, guys. Till next time, stay tuned for episode 2. But appreciate it.
Listeners, thank you so much. We'll be bringing you guys more content. We hope to do this, twice a week after, a weekend roundup on a Sunday evening after all the fixtures across the Premier League and across Europe have concluded. And we'll do a midweek one. I believe we decided Wednesday or Thursday, one of the two, but likely a Wednesday after, Champions League games have concluded. Most likely we'll do it on like a Wednesday evening. We don't really want to wait for we don't really care too much about the Europa League. We're not going to wait till Thursday for the Thursday roundup. Sorry for any teams that are playing on a Thursday. We'll wait till the Champions League games conclude.
They say that they start playing on a Thursday. Just
those days are over.
Oh, shit. All right, guys.
Thanks all. Thank you all for listening.
Thanks everyone.
Ciao.